So we bought this Yoleny 12x16 gazebo from Amazon, and it had great reviews. Price was okay. We had a $150 coupon, so we went ahead and purchased it. Look at the one-star reviews, and if you do buy this, here's some tips. Lay all the roof panels out first and make sure they're all cut the same and they fit. We had to cut some panels, and also go get about 12 6mm 2-inch long screws, because the screws they send you are not going to be long enough to fit. Stay tuned and I will reveal more in the rest of the video. We received most of the boxes and we're eager to get started, so we figured, okay, let's go ahead and lay everything out, get started, and we'll stop when we get to the box we need that we don't have. So I went ahead and stood the poles up, put the long section together, put all the stuff on it, and then I lifted that up, lifted up the other long section, and then I had assistance in connecting the short section to those, which gave them stability, and we got the frame up. And then we started on the roof. Now, I would do it different. If I had to do it again, I would build the roof on the ground, put the panels on, and then pulley it up onto the top. So here's the first problem we ran into. This hole here was not lined up. So same product, holes are way off. So I took it down and lined it up with the one that was working, drilled it out, no big deal. The panels came in a box. It's a very heavy box, so it got dropped, it got banged up. They need to find a way to ship smaller boxes so it doesn't get as banged up. So this, some of the roof panel coming in. The frame goes up fairly well. So they put this in a box framed to try and protect it. However, that makes the box like 900 pounds, and people are going to drop it and that's going to get bent. So should probably see about making it a little lighter, maybe shipping in 7 boxes, because that's a little too heavy. So the S2s and the Zs were a bit of a challenge, but they clip on this way, and that's because this slides into a groove and this raises it up so it matches, and it slides into the groove. So now the important thing to remember is to leave these loose so you can slide them back and forth as you get connected.
And as the panels are...
Yeah. When you're putting these F's up, you want to leave them a little loose.
I did.
Because sometimes you're going to be sliding them back and forth, maybe trying to move this just to get the holes to line up. So when you're putting up panels, you can put these on when you are putting it together, but you want to leave some room because you might have to wiggle back and forth to get these to line up properly. When installing the roof top plates, if the roof plates are slightly uneven, please press the screws from the top down. That will not work. We were putting on the roof panels, they were going on fairly well, and then we started running into problems where the holes don't line up on one side. So we kept trying to figure that. So these things fall off really easily, but my brilliant and beautiful wife decided to get some double-sided tape, loop over this, and then cinch them down on that double-sided tape, and it has made the whole process a lot easier. So what we've been doing is putting those in, like not the ones on the edge,
put one over to hold everything in place until the rest of it gets in. And getting these two attached, the center here, which is on that rail, we had to take all those apart and push up, and so we did that one first, and that allowed these to get aligned, so that's how we put those on. That was after a lot of trial and error, so hopefully you can benefit from our experience and not curse so much. So the plan was to leave a nice, do a nice video on, you know, some tips and tricks of putting the Yoleny Gazebo, the 12 by 16 together, but we got this far, right? And this ate up like 4 hours trying to work with it. So this right here, there's a screw on the top, number 3. It comes down from the top. That took a long time to get to fit. So that's a 7, and this over here is a 7. So when we put this panel on, it slides in nice and tight up here, but it's a lot longer on here, and none of the holes line up. So you see how that hole's supposed to line up, but it's a little off to the right, and you can scoot it over a little bit, but it's not lining up. So this has become a real issue, and tomorrow we're gonna put on all the rest that might go on easy, right? And then I'm going to come back with a metal drill bit and drill out these holes and put it up and cover the old holes with what am I going to cover the old holes with? Flex Seal or something like that. Flex Seal is what I'm going to go with first, and this is annoying as shit. A lot of times you'll encounter something like this where you got the hole there, but it's very far down, and that's because that's slightly out of the track up there. So we're gonna have to put the second one on, then get these holes lined up, put this bolt and secure here, so that the next row can be a little bit more level and line up better. All right, so this right here has got to be on the edge here. So that's as far over to the right as this goes, but that is still not lining up. There's another whole rung there. All right, so having some troubles, and the wife said go up there and line them all up. So I got an R2, an R4, and an R6, and I laid them out so you can tell that's a R2, that's a R4, that's a R6. So the R2 and the R4, they line up their holes just about perfectly. And then when we get over here to the R6, and well, that's not lined up. Now if you slide it all the way down here, it lines up. But it doesn't line up here. So that's a lot shorter than it should be. So if you line up here, then the hole is very, very off. So oops, you can tell the hole's there, but way down there. So the hole is about here, on the R6, and it's shorter up here if you line it up there.
The lesson learned here is before you put your panels up, lay them out on the ground, make sure they line up and are going to fit.
Okay, so we line these up here side by side, and you start coming down, and the holes are like 2 inches off. If we make it even down here, then you're very off up here. And we double checked. R6, R4, R2.
So we had determined that the R2 and the R4 were the problem. And we contacted Yoleny, sent them the photos, like explaining, hey, this is way off. We need R4s and R2s cut properly. And then we can finish our gazebo. And it took quite a while for those to come in. And we compared the rest of the panels. So it finally came in, and it was, of course, another heavy box. They actually sent us a whole nother box of panels. So now we have a lot of extras. But they had the same problem of, it's a heavy box, you know? And they didn't line up again.
All right, so we got these lined up. Everything even on the bottom. All right. Holes are all lined up. Coming up here, get the R2 and the R4. Way too big. All right, so I made a scribe mark on the panel that fit next to it, and the angle shows that the cut's not straight, because the bottom of there is perfect. So this is how off the cut is on the top.
And that was it. The R4 was the problem. It was cut wrong. We had someone with an angle grinder come out, cut the angle, and the rest of the panels went up fairly well. Unfortunately, the screws don't reach.
Oh, this is still a work in progress. But we're 99% complete. We have put these up, the curtains and the bug net. So what you want to do is you'll get this side, which has 9. No, this side has 7, the short side. The long side has 9. And the tie is in the middle. So you want to start with the curtain, and you'll want to start from the outside and work in. You want to stay kind of in the corner, because otherwise the last 2 will kind of stretch. So curtain first, then the bug net, which is of course the opposite of how we did it. We still have some screws, and we had to go and get 2-inch screws because the ones provided will not reach. There's something in the manual or the instructions that says push hard. Yeah, that ain't gonna happen. Because we did push hard. I'm 250 pounds. I pushed hard as I could. It ain't coming down. So I hope I have already explained lay the panels out on the ground, make sure they're all cut right. I did not cut this one, which I should have. So as you can see, we have a washer there to help prevent it, because this one wouldn't come through. And you can see how way off that hole is. We didn't trim this one, which we should have. And hopefully you can see up here where it's going to be permanently buckled because the panels didn't fit. And I didn't I didn't take it down. I didn't bother taking it down. And yeah, you can see there's a permanent buckle there. And I'm really just going to leave it because I am so frustrated with this gazebo at this point that doing anything else is just going to drive me over the edge. And then we're going to put the screens up here after we tighten all the nuts and stuff down. Go back and take off the stickers. So the after build evaluation of this is going to be the way it went up. I mean, the frame went up pretty easy. There was only one, and I documented that, where I had to drill in one of the frame pieces, and that was up top. The rest of them, the frame went up great. The roof, the top roof, went on pretty smooth. It wasn't until we got to the R4s that we ran into a problem. We complained to the company. We said, we're pretty sure it's the R4s and the R2s. And they sent us literally a whole nother box of the larger panels. So a whole nother box, which of course was dented, cracked, the edges were bent, but they did send us a whole nother box of panels. So we now have a whole lot of panels. However, the R4s were still cut a little bit wrong. And at this point, just want the build to be over. So I'm taking a drill, drilling the holes out, and making it work. It's going to be a gazebo, but we will forever have the dents like there, little gaps like that. One of the things I would say is, as you're putting together the frame, right here there is a channel that's going to be right here. When you're putting the frame together, before you put the panels on, go ahead and caulk that, because if you do not caulk that, when it rains, it drips from there. So caulk that, put some kind of bead on it, and or maybe just don't get a Yoleny. I don't know. I would, if I had to do it over again, I would put the roof together on the ground and then lift it up. Maybe with a pulley system, something.